Self-defense. Yeah, I thought I should bring up a topic called self-defense for actually a really good reason, okay? Self-defense is something normally a person, the way I see it, regardless of what your gender, regardless of what your race, white, Caucasian, Asian, don't matter, German, Russian, black, just does not matter. Who you are, you have a right to defend yourself, okay? And that's the way I feel about it. Now, defending yourself doesn't mean that you go out and start the altercation, because that's not defense. If you started the altercation, whoever you start the altercation with, the person that you started with would be the one defending themselves from you. You're the perpetrator. You don't qualify as the one just defending themselves when you're the perpetrator. But a lot of people love to take that and they love to attack other people in today's society. They want to be the perpetrator, but they don't want the world to see them as the perpetrator. They want to be seen as the victim and they want to claim self-defense. When in reality, they're not the victim. And there was no self-defense on their fucking behalf at all because they were the perpetrator. They were the ones doing the attacking. Okay? And I see this happen all the time. If I looked at Trayvon Martin case, the only thing I can say about this is it's just amazing. It's just absolutely amazing how stupid people are. 90% of the country was not there. Did not see a fucking thing to know what exactly took place. But they all made up their mind, the majority anyhow, made up their mind immediately. They knew what took place even when they wasn't there. And they went after Zimmerman. They say, but Trayvon was a kid. No, Trayvon wasn't a kid. Trayvon was a young man. Okay, he wasn't quite an adult yet. He was very close. He was 17. So he was a young man that stood the height of many a full-grown adult's 30s and 40s. That's right, at 6'2", 165 pounds. And the media lied to you and said he was lighter than what he was. But what don't the media lie about, okay? My problem with that whole situation with Trayvon is the fact that nobody was there, regardless of him being a young man or not, and unarmed. My thing was I was not there. You was not there to see it with your own eyes, to know exactly what took place and what if George Zimmerman was telling the truth. If he was telling the truth and Trayvon attacked him, and he was on the ground and wasn't able to fucking get up and Trayvon had his head dunk slammed into the ground. I'm not going to listen to what Trayvon's brother said for a very simple reason. It's his family, it's his brother. Of course, he loved his brother. Of course, he's going to stick up for his brother. Okay, I wouldn't expect him not to. So, I can't listen to him neither. Why? For that reason mainly, and then the other reason, which is the reason I don't care what anybody else says. Like myself, you was not there. You did not witness with your own eyes, and these so-called witnesses that heard it with their ears, the last time I looked, your ears don't see. So since I know your ears ain't got eyeballs embedded into them, you're not a witness. Okay? Now, as far as what happened, I can only say this. It could be that Zimmerman's lying. In which case, he needs to be prosecuted, yes. And they've got him right now. He's in jail. But what if Zimmerman's telling the truth? Then you say, well, so what? He's unarmed. So, no, that's not no so what. What if he couldn't get up off the ground? The guy had his head fucking dunk slammed into the fucking concrete or into the ground. You gonna say, so what? Well, then that means what you're saying to him is he don't have a right to defend himself. That's what you'd be telling him then. See, that's a lot like on the internet, isn't it? See, we can have people on the internet that like to go around and take other people's videos and edit them, make them say things they didn't say, slam them. Other people just come up and reach up their anal and talk a bunch of garbage about somebody that's none of it's true. They don't even know the person. And they attack that person. They attack somebody just merely because they can attack them. Okay? And then they want to turn around and call themselves a victim. Sort of like Desert Laser, Volter. Yeah, they know who they are. Okay? Sort of like Brandon Kirk. See, these people know who they are. These are people on the internet that go around and attack other people that don't even know them. Make up garbage. Stick fucking their hands up their anals and make up garbage. Okay? And lies. And tell the whole world a pack of lies about somebody that they just made up and laughed the whole way along as they're doing it. And if one of the people that they're attacking out of nowhere defends themselves, by God, that's a crime, isn't it? Yeah, that's a crime. How dare them defend themselves against your lying ass? Isn't that what that comes down to? How dare them be a human being and defend themselves against your lying ass? And then we have double standards, okay? On top of that. That allows hate speech, allows lying, manipulation, and hate speech on YouTube. But in YouTube's guidelines and policies, they make it very plain and clear that that's not allowed. But see, YouTube is just like mainstream media. They're just like anybody else. Google, they're criminals. Okay? They're lying criminals. They're hiccups. I mean, what can I say? They're sick. Why do I say that about YouTube? Because YouTube likes to play double standard. See, YouTube will allow nudity from good-looking females, but they say it's clearly in the guidelines that no nudity is allowed. But a good-looking female can get up there and take it off, and YouTube will leave it, even if it's flagged over and over and over. See, YouTube can't even live up to its own rules it sets. So, it's like the copyright violation. When a person can get their video ripped down for copyright violation, and they haven't altered or edited anybody else's video, it's a talking head video like you're seeing right now. Don't a person in it, just like you're seeing right now. And then that becomes a copyright. How does that work? How does that become a copyright? So you mean that person's copyrighted themselves? That's because they're making up the rules as they go. They're not abiding by what the law says. They're making their rules as they go. And the rules that they put on you don't apply to everybody. It applies to who they say it applies to. That's the reason you'll see people like Vulture and Desert Laser, Brandon Kirk, Robert Wilbur, all one and the same. Go around and launch an attack on somebody they don't even know. Take and download their videos, edit it, slander them. Vulture will get up there on video and just fucking pull lies out of his anal and stuff it in his mouth and spit them out. Okay? And then you'll see this over and over all over the internet. And then what happens when somebody defends themselves? Oh. So you mean if you defend yourself against somebody in today's society, that makes you a criminal, huh? You're supposed to just take it. That's right, you're supposed to just take it. And as far as YouTube's rules, guidelines, they can throw them in the garbage because they don't apply to everybody equally, okay? They do not apply to everybody equally. They apply to who YouTube wants them to apply to, and that's it. So there are people on YouTube that can practice hate speech all they want. You can flag them to your blue in the face, and their account will never go nowhere because YouTube, well, they're criminals. They allow hate speech from that person. And if that person they allow hate speech from attacks an innocent person who's never done nothing to them and makes a bunch of hogwash up out their ass and talks hate speech, slanders their reputation, their character, whatever, and that person stands up for themselves against that person, then YouTube will come along and take the person who stood up for himself after they were attacked or herself after they were attacked. YouTube will come along and help the perpetrator attack that person by taking that person's defense down. They will help the criminals. See, YouTube would help George Sidini. When George Sidini walked into the gym and shot women, killed women, YouTube would be right there to cover it up and maybe shoot and kill a couple more women. See, that's the behavior YouTube represents. Because they would condone them actions. Because that is YouTube. Because their rules don't apply to everybody. And you're not allowed to defend yourself. So since we're not allowed to defend ourselves in today's society, you know, the only thing I can say is, like I've said over and over and over before, we have a world filled full of evil, okay? And perpetrators like Volter, Volter 616, and perpetrators like Desert Laser, that's right, Diana Boston, Brandon Kirk, and so on, the actual perpetrators run around and cry and complain that they're a victim when they're actually not a victim, they're the perpetrator. Okay? And they get by with a whole bunch, and they'll claim they've been this and they'll claim they've been that, but yet they're the ones going and attacking people. And the majority of the time, just like with the Trayvon Martin case, when a person stands up for themselves, they're attacked for standing up for themselves. So, right, and that's why I said with YouTube. YouTube, Google, they're a good example of attacking somebody who stood up for themselves rather than look at both sides. If they looked at both sides, an example would be somebody attacks you on video and they dunk slam you or whatever, and they fucking make up a bunch of lies and hate speech and slander your character, and you defend yourself and they take your video down for defending yourself and never look at the other one's video, seeing what really took place. That's what YouTube does. That's why I said that YouTube would have done a beautiful job in the George Sidini case, because they would have helped to shoot some women. They would have helped to kill some women. They would have helped to cover that up. That would have been justifiable, because they couldn't defend themselves, because you're in the United States where you're not allowed to defend yourself. Okay? That's about what I got to say. We're in a time where you're not allowed to defend yourself against perpetrators, and perpetrators want to play as victims when they're not.